Having Chipper Jones, Baseball Hall of Famer, on the show. My guy, Chipper, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, guys. How are y'all?
Doing well. Glad to have you on as always. Hey, what's this I hear about a security guard stopping you because you didn't have the right credential? I know the Braves have a new spring training home, but come on, man. All you got to do is look in the outfield. I'm sure there's a 10 Jones banner somewhere.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't wearing my jersey when I walked in, but yeah, it was. I just kind of showed up unannounced. I didn't want a lot of fanfare or anything around it. I managed to talk my way past the guy that let me into the parking lot, but when I got to the little lady that was going to let me into the facility itself, she said, "Sir, you don't have any credentials." And I go, "No, ma'am, I don't, but my picture's right there on the side of that building, so, does that help?" And she looked, and she kind of did a double take. She asked me my name, and she finally relented, so we got in.
There you go. Great story. Hey, ESPN Baseball, Wednesday night crew now. I know you're excited about that. I know being on TV is something that you've always wanted to do. How did this all kind of come together?
I think it was just doing some regional stuff with Chip Carey and Joe Simpson, Jeff Francoeur in the booth last year with the Braves, and then ESPN kind of caught wind of it and asked me to do a broadcast with Boog Sciambi and David Ross last year, and I guess they just kind of saw the chemistry that Boog and I had. We've been together a long time. He used to do Braves games when I was still playing, so know him very well. And when David Ross got the Cubs job, they came calling, and it was something that I'm not really sure that I want to do full time yet. So this gives me an opportunity. I'm doing 20 dates this year, and hopefully I like it and will continue to do it. Yeah.
Chipper, it was Boog that you pointed to up when you slid, or actually when you were up at bat, and he talked about some of the pitches you were swinging at in San Diego. Wasn't he in the booth that day? Isn't that the story?
Yeah. The one clip that went viral was he came up to me when I was playing, and he said that Albert Pujols is the only player in baseball who sees less first pitch strikes than you do. And he asked me why I swung at the first pitch all the time, and I said it might be the only fastball that I get, so I'm really aggressive on the first pitch. Well, the conversation that we had kind of stuck with me, and we were facing a guy named Tim Stauffer in San Diego, whom I didn't hit very well. I didn't see him very well, so I go, I'll take a first pitch, just to kind of see what he's got. And I mean, Jacob, when I tell you he center cut a 91-mile-an-hour fastball right down Broadway, and I'm sitting there with the bat on my shoulder, and I turned around and I looked at the press box, and Boog Sciambi is not hard to find because he's got this carrot top red hair.
Yeah.
And if you could have heard the language spinning around in my head when I looked up there, it would have been full of commentary.
Yeah.
Would have been full of bleeps, So everybody thought that was hilarious, and was kind of the first step to getting this ESPN deal done.
Chipper, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but I was like a couple of rows up. You're actually in San Diego. It's when I was playing with the Chargers, and I remember that moment because I remember thinking, what is he looking at up there? Why is he looking to the press box? And when I heard that story, what was it, probably 2 years ago when that kind of came out? When that came out, I remembered exactly where I was in that moment.
Yeah, it was probably 2007, 2008 when it happened. But, yeah, last year when we were in the booth is when it kind of went viral. But just a funny moment. And hopefully, Boog and I will be able to reflect back on a bunch of other things that are going to make people laugh and make the telecast entertaining.
It's probably good that wasn't on mic'd up whenever you had to look back up there. But I did have a question for you. There's a lot of talk right now about the bot umpires that I know they're implementing in some of the summer leagues, and they're trying it out. I wanted to get your opinion on it because I know you are a very, very old school style of baseball, and I wanted to know what you thought about taking out the umpires and just incorporating maybe a robot just to make the calls.
I can promise you I can tell you what this thought's about to be. Let her have it, Chip.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I mean, we can't we can't get the replay cameras to work on a nightly basis, much less, what happens if you don't have any umpires and the automated system breaks down? What are you going to do? It's going to happen because we play in rain, we play in cold, we play in wind. Something's going to break down. I feel like you still need some human element, involved in it. And hey, that's part of the intrigue of each and every game. Do you have a pitcher's umpire behind the plate? Do you have a hitter's umpire behind the plate? Players have to adjust to both. This is a game of adjustment. If you have a 17-inch wide plate every single night, I can tell you who's going to suffer. It's going to be the pitchers, because if you're not giving them an inch or two, here or there,
Amen.
the hitters are going to take advantage.
Catching up with Baseball Hall of Famer Chipper Jones here on Hanging with Hester. Chipper, let's talk Atlanta Braves. That's my sweet spot. That's the team that I follow. Third base, Austin Riley. He played outfield last year. He tried to get his bat into the lineup. He was out there in left field. Came out swinging hot, hit a little bit of a slump, but that's to be expected. Do you think he takes over third base for the Bravos?
I think it's just a matter of time. I don't know whether that time is this spring or not. I think if the Braves had their druthers, and I'm just guessing here, I have no inside info whatsoever, they'd rather have Austin Riley. The first 6 weeks of last season's Austin Riley, as opposed to the last 2 months. If he's swinging it like he was the first 6 weeks, they want him in the lineup. Not only that, it gives you the opportunity to be more versatile off the bench with a guy like Camargo, who can play multiple positions. He's a switch hitter. But as of right now, you're looking at a pretty tight race. I think I saw the numbers this morning. Riley is 8 for 25 with a couple of bombs. I think 4 or 5 strikeouts, and Camargo is 8 for 24 with a bomb and 6 RBIs. And so they're both representing themselves really well. I think they both want to make it as tough on Smith as they can. They're both great kids. I think there is a spot in Atlanta for both of them, especially with an expanded roster this year. And I hope both of them make the team. But I think before it's all said and done, it's probably going to be Austin Riley.
What's the one question mark you have right now for the Atlanta Braves as you watch them in spring training? What's the one thing you'll kind of point to and say, I need to see this kind of grow before you get to the season? Because as you well know, it's a very talented roster.
It's a very talented roster, but the back end of the rotation still has question marks. I don't think there's any doubt that Soroka and Fried will be at the top of the rotation. Are you going to get the good Fultonavich in the 3 or the 4 hole, or are you going to get the one who gave up 10 to the Cardinals in the last game of the year last year? Certainly has the capability of pitching in the middle of the rotation, but needs to get more consistent. The injury to Cole Hamels before spring training started is a big one. It is a big one because now it brings other guys into the fold, whether it's Felix Hernandez, whether it's Sean Newcomb, whether it's Kyle Wright. But, guys like Wright and Newcomb may have been slated to be in the bullpen. So now you're kind of weakening your bullpen to get better arms into your rotation. And how consistent are they going to be? So really from about 3, 4, and 5 in the rotation, those are my question marks. I feel like they've got a pretty solid bullpen. They got one of the best lineups in the game. They play good defense, but it remains to be seen if they can get consistent innings from the 3, 4, and 5 guys.
Catching up with Chipper Jones here on Hanging with Hester. Chipper, I'm not going to ask you to get into specifics about the Astros and what happened there. I want to come at from a different angle. You're a guy that when you went and played in New York and you played in Shea Stadium, the entire crowd was against you. They would yell at you the entire game. They wouldn't let up. So the Astros are going to face some of that. How bad do you think that situation gets, and do you think it's something where baseball might have to even step in?
Oh, I don't think so. They brought it on themselves. This is something that they're going to have to live with. Just like any of the other players who may have had a cloud of steroid use around them. They're going to hear about it from now on. Whatever they do is going price you pay for doing what you did. Look, hey, I've relayed signs. I've gotten signs relayed to me, but everything has been done organically, from player to player. And that you give signs to another player, you're taking your health into your own hands, because if you get caught, you're going to get dotted. I can promise you that. So I think it's an unwritten rule that you can do it organically, but to do it electronically the way they were doing it is taking it, a step too far. I can promise you this: if I had known every pitch that was coming throughout the course of my career, I would have hit closer to 400 than I did 300. It makes that much difference, knowing what's coming, what you can lay off, what you can be aggressive with. It is a huge difference. So it's awfully disappointing. I feel like the Astros had a really, really good team that didn't need to do this stuff, and it's very unfortunate because the game doesn't need another black eye.
All right, last one for you here. We're catching up with Chipper Jones on Hanging with Hester. I didn't hear from you a lot this football season. The season that LSU had, you were really quiet. Typically, we text back and forth throughout football season. I'm going to let that one slide as long as you meet me in the swamp this year when the Tigers and Gators play.
Well, if I'm not in the woods trying to hunt down something, I may take you up on that. I will say this: my nanny that helps out with all these babies that I got. She is a diehard LSU fan, so I went to my first tailgate ever when LSU played Oklahoma here in Atlanta. And folks, let me tell you, there is nobody who drinks and eats like the LSU fan base. It was awesome. I didn't go to the game. I just went strictly for the tailgate, and I had a blast. And I got to tell you, they may have converted me to a fair weather LSU fan. So
things you love to hear on a Wednesday afternoon. Happy, mark that tape. I want to be able to have that and send that to Chipper whenever I think about it.
And to be honest with you, as a Florida fan, watching the butt whooping that LSU put on a bunch of teams throughout the year, the fact that we go to LSU and keep it within 14, I don't know if it was that close, but hey, we hung around, we gave y'all a scare into the fourth quarter, and when you're a Florida fan and you're trying to turn the corner and get back up to the top of the East so that you can be considered, for the SEC championship, we'll take it as a stepping stone and move on.
I tell you what, back in 2008, when our friendship began, I never thought we'd start talking about close moral losses in the LSU Florida series. I'm shocked right now.
We, since God's gift of football left Tim Tebow, we've been struggling a little bit. So we'll take small moral victories whenever we can get them.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, Chip, man, you are the man. I appreciate your time. As always, can't wait to listen to you and watch you on Wednesday nights.
Enjoyed it, fellas. Y'all be good.
All right, there he is, Baseball Hall of Famer Chipper Jones.